Hello folks, it's Carl. So Canada's population growth just hit its slowest pace in over 2 years. Okay, immigration is down and emigration is up. So people are asking, is Canada still worth it in 2025? So today we're going to be digging into the actual Stats Canada data. So StatsCan is the national statistical agency for Canada. So we're not just going to look at the social media panic, but we're going to look at the actual data. So we'll break down what's really happening with immigration numbers, why more people are leaving Canada, and whether you should still move here or stay if you already have. Let's dive in. So what's the data actually saying? Now, Stats Canada's July 2025 report shows that Canada's population grew by just 0.6% in the first quarter of 2025. That's down from 1% growth in previous quarters. So what's happening? Now, immigration has decreased and emigration is up. So immigration is the people coming into Canada and emigration is those that are leaving Canada for good. So immigration is down, less people are coming in, but more people are actually leaving Canada for good. And according to the report, more people are leaving than has been seen in many years. Now, immigration didn't necessarily stop, okay? It's just slowed down compared to the pandemic boom. Now, why does all of this matter, or why is all of this even relevant? Slower population growth affects a lot of things. Now, one of them is the labor market. Okay, now many people would argue that slower population growth might affect or might have a good effect on the labor market, but it affects the labor market, it affects housing demand, and also affects economic policy. All right, now, like I said, most people would argue that it affects all these three things positively, but then it also has its downsides as well. Now, let's first look at why people are leaving Canada. There are many reasons, but we're going to look at the top three. Okay, let's be honest, life in Canada isn't perfect, right? Many newcomers love it. I mean, they come into Canada and they just love it, but some also leave, and the question is why? Now, here are the top three reasons. Now, the first of all is the cost of living shock. Okay, rent in Toronto is about $2,400 for a one-bedroom apartment. Okay, now that also depends on the area, but that's just generally for the GTA or the downtown Toronto area. Now, rent seems to be coming down, so this figure might change a little bit, but it's around $2,400 per month. Now, groceries are up by 25% over 3 years. Okay, so you know, when you're trying to move to Canada and someone is selling you that story about how cheap food is and all of that, and how affordable rent is, it's not really the case, right? So the cost of living shock is real. Now, when you look at car insurance, phone bills, daycare, all these other things are not cheap. They are pricey. Okay, so some families begin to realize that their money goes farther back home or elsewhere. There are people even running away to Mexico. Let me not say running away, but they're just leaving Canada and moving to Mexico. All right, so that's how serious it is. Now, the other reason, or the second big reason, is immigration fatigue. Now, in recent times, there have been very long processing times for immigration stuff or immigration documents. There are work permit delays, there are study permit refusals, and even people that qualify for the postgraduate work permit, the PGWP, have to wait for close to a year before they hear back from IRCC. People who have applied for PR some even have to wait for over a year before they hear back from IRCC. So that immigration fatigue is also beginning to settle in, and it's also becoming a driver of people that are leaving Canada. Now, even after PR, even when you get your PR, some people still feel stuck, because guess what? The job market reality is beginning to hit hard. You realize that, well, you have your PR, but you're not necessarily getting a job in the field that you prefer. So immigration fatigue is also one of the big reasons why people are leaving. The third one is career frustration. Now, many immigrants, many work below their actual qualifications, right? International experience often isn't recognized. Licensing for professions like nursing, pharmacy, engineering, those take years, many years. They're cumbersome and they are also very, very expensive. So guess what? It gets to a point where some people just decide, you know what? I've tried enough. Time to move on. And again, I still remember the story of an architect and his wife that decided, we just gave up. We're going back to wherever we came from, right? So drop a comment in the comment section if you felt any of this, because trust me, you are not alone. So that's for emigration. Now let's talk about immigration for a little bit. Now, why is immigration also slowing down? Now, don't get it wrong. Canada still needs immigrants. Even Canada's leaders admit to that fact, okay? But here's why the numbers are down. First of all, policy adjustments. Now, after the huge 2022, 2023 boom, where everyone was, coming into Canada, the government has now decided to be more selective and to slow things down. So IRCC is now prioritizing targeted immigration programs like, the caregivers program, trades, healthcare. Even the express entry draws are more targeted to certain professions. Okay, so policy adjustments is one of the reasons why immigration is down. Now, the second reason is study permit crackdown. So in 2024, 2025, Canada introduced study permit caps. So many students, especially students from Nigeria, Ghana, India, many of those students are now blocked or they are delayed, right? So students are not coming in as fast as they did before. And that's one of the reasons why immigration is also slowing down. Again, processing backlogs is the third reason. PR and work permits are still delayed. People have applied for PR and have been in the applications have been in the system for a very, very long time, and they're not hearing anything from IRCC. So there are many processing backlogs, and that leaves a lot of people stuck in limbo. Others are just giving up or choosing other countries. That is why immigration is down. So the big question is Canada still worth it in 2025? Well, here's where we bring it home. I try to keep it very real on this channel. So let me say yes, if, okay? Yes, if you are in an in-demand profession like healthcare, trades, tech, logistics, yes, okay? If you have realistic expectations about work and cost of living, then yes, okay? If you are coming prepared and you are ready to upscale, network, and adapt, I would say yes, Canada is still worth it. And if you want long-term stability, safety, and education for your kids, I'll say Canada is still a very good option for that. So yes, if you want that as well. Now, I would also say no. Canada is not worth it if you expect immediate wealth, right? I know that some people sell fake stories to others back home, say, Canada is the land of honey and milk. Everything is going to be so quick. It is not. You have to work for it, and you have to be prepared to work for it, okay? So if you're expecting immediate wealth and things to be easy for you in Canada, it might not be. You may find yourself very, very disappointed. So no, Canada is not worth it if you're expecting immediate wealth. Canada is also not worth it if you are not prepared for entry-level roles. Okay? Now, if you're a manager back home, definitely have in your mind that you're not 90% chance that you're not going to be a manager immediately you move here. Okay? It doesn't happen like that for many people. You may have to start lower and climb back up, build that Canadian work experience, and that would help you to grow, right? So no, Canada is not worth it for you if you're not prepared for those entry-level roles. and know if you are not prepared for a major lifestyle adjustment. Okay, you'd have to adjust your lifestyle, to be able to live in Canada. There's the cultural shock and many other things that drive people away. So make sure that you're ready to adjust your lifestyle as well. So if you ask me my take, I would say that Canada is not a fantasy land. It is not. I have to be honest, but it is still a land of opportunity for those who play the long game, those who are willing to work, those who are willing to persevere, and those who have realistic expectations. Whatever expectations those connection men or people are selling you back home, hey, be mindful, okay? Have realistic expectations, and Canada might just work for you. Now, my advice for 2025 immigrants, here's what I would recommend if you're applying, moving, or even thinking of leaving Canada. Now, if you're outside Canada, I would say that research provinces with real demand, not just Ontario, okay? Many immigrants want to move to Ontario. Many people outside Canada want to move to Ontario, but Canada is huge. So research other provinces as well. You may have a better chance to get PR in those provinces. And also avoid illegal immigration agents who promise you quick fixes, or like they call them back home in my country, connection men. I would say tread cautiously with those people. Most of these connection men just end up giving you or helping you get visit visas and push you to Canada. And trust me, if you come to Canada on a visit visa, you are going to struggle. That's a given. Okay, now also make sure you apply through legit programs like PMPs or caregiver pilots. And in my next videos, I'm going to be talking about some of the programs in some of the provinces that you can use or you can apply through to get PR in Canada. So stay tuned to this channel. And if you haven't subscribed, just hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. Now, if you have already moved here and you are in Canada, or if you're new in Canada, I would say that don't isolate yourself. Join community organizations, use free job services, career mentorships. There are many services that are provided by Canada for free. So make sure you do your research and use some of those services, and make sure you start somewhere. Be ready to start somewhere, even if it is not your dream job yet. Just start somewhere. Okay. Now, if you're thinking of leaving, make sure you have a plan. Just like people move to Canada without a plan, people also leave in a haste without a plan. So if you're thinking of leaving, my suggestion is make sure that you have a plan. I'll suggest a 2-year plan before you even decide, and try to, ask yourself if this frustration is just temporary or it's permanent, okay, before you make that big decision. And also consider moving within Canada before you give up. Most people are stuck in, Ontario and the big cities and all of that, where things don't really go that fast because those places are choked. But Canada is huge. If it's not working in Ontario, try Alberta, try other provinces. Just do your research before you make that final decision to leave, because that's a big decision. So Canada is changing. The numbers prove it, but it doesn't mean that your dream is over. It just means that the strategy needs to evolve. Now, let's keep it real. Let's support each other and make decisions with wide eyes open. Okay, now like this video if it gave you a new perspective. Comment below, is Canada still worth it in 2025? Are you staying, are you going, or are you applying? Subscribe for weekly updates on immigration, jobs, and real life in Canada. See you in the next one.